Today on Network Africa, opposition presidential candidate in Gabon's election says he's waiting calmly to be declared winner. And then a building collapses in Nigeria's federal capital city, Abuja. And a protest erupts over controversy concerning how black South African students can carry their hair. Network Africa begins right now. Welcome to the program. I am Bisia Debayo. Well, let's begin with a review of major headlines over the weekend.
The 4 Libyan fighters were killed and more than 180 injured on Sunday as they sealed the last Islamic State militant hideout in the coastal city of Sirte. Forces aligned with Libya's United Nations-backed government, supported since the 1st of August by U.S. airstrikes, have pushed militants back into a small residential area in central Sirte in a 3-month-old campaign. Heavy fighting resumed on Sunday after a 1-week lull. The Libyan brigades, mostly from the city of Misrata, believe they are close to victory in Sirte, while they've struggled to defend themselves against suicide bombings, sniper fire and landmines. Elsewhere, the Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari says he will allow Boko Haram choose a non-profit organization as an intercessor in any talks on the release of about 200 schoolgirls kidnapped from the northeastern city of Chibok in 2014. Buhari first said last year that his government was ready to negotiate with Islamic militants Boko Haram over the girls, but the group has not commented on the proposal. Finally, Togolese authorities have slaughtered 11,500 chickens in response to an outbreak of bird flu at 2 farms in the capital Lomé and the town of Adetikope, about 25 kilometers north of Lomé. Highly pathogenic H5N1 bird flu has spread across a number of West African countries in the past 2 years, hitting poultry farms in Niger and Cameroon. The outbreaks across West Africa have raised fears of transmission to humans, given poor health infrastructure in the region.
Elections done, but a winner is yet to be declared in Gabon. However, presidential candidate in the main opposition, Jinping, is calling on President Ali Bongo to admit defeat and congratulate him for winning. As at Sunday, the president's campaign was still confident of victory at the polls, accusing Mr. Ping and his supporters of fraud, which, if found to be true, could plunge the polls down an unending legal road. President Bongo says Mr. Ping is trying to preempt election officials to announce final results, which are supposed to be declared on Tuesday. He's calling out Mr. Ping and trying to manipulate the results. He wants the Gabonese people to defend their choice throughout the country and overseas. But Mr. Ping says he had told the American and French ambassadors in Libreville that he intended to guarantee the security of Mr. Bongo and his family who have ruled the nation for as long as 50 years. Well, staying with that story, the main challenger in the polls, Jinping, is the son of a Chinese father and Gabonese mother, but born in Gabon. He's had great international exposure, working with UNESCO in 1972, became advisor to the Gabonese embassy in France, and Gabon's permanent delegate to UNESCO, a position he held till 1984. In 1990, he became Gabon's Minister for Information, Post and Telecommunications, Tourism and Recreation, and served in different positions in his country. He was elected to the National Assembly in December 1996. He was chosen to be president of the 59th session of the United Nations General Assembly in 2004. Ping was one of President Omar Bongo's closest and longest-serving ministers and was considered one of the most powerful figures in Gabon. Ping was one of the key figures who helped arrange the visit to Gabon in 2004 of Chinese President Hu Jintao, who used the capital Libreville as the platform for making a landmark speech promising a new era of engagement with Africa without political strings. Elsewhere, Japan has pledged $30 billion at the 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, which took place in Nairobi, Kenya. The pledge amount will be used for public and private support for infrastructure development in Africa over the next 3 years.
Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta, they have agreed to promote trade and investment at the end of the 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development (TICAD) on Sunday. We agreed to promote trade and investment. We have just signed the investment agreement, which will be an important milestone, which will further accelerate consultations aiming to conclude tax treaties. Resource-poor Japan has long been interested in tapping Africa's vast natural resources, while Kenya, which lacks manufacturing capability, relies on Japan heavily for machine and electrical imports.
We signed an important document, which is the promotion and protection of investments, which we expect will spur Japanese private sector investments in Kenya. Indeed, present during our discussions this evening were some Japanese chief executive officers who are but a representation of the very many who attended the TICAD 6 conference.
Japan's overall direct investment in Africa totaled $1.24 billion in 2015, down from $1.5 billion a year earlier, according to Japan External Trade Organization, which does not provide a breakdown of sectors. Its presence in infrastructure projects ranges from roads, ports, and airports to power plants. The $30 billion announced on Saturday is an addition to $32 billion that Japan pledged to Africa over a 5-year period at the last TICAD meeting in 2013. Abe said 67% of that had already been put to use in the various projects.
On a sad note, a 4-story building has collapsed in Gwarinpa Estate in Abuja, the nation's capital. Well, rescue efforts are set to be ongoing with men of the Red Cross, National Emergency Management Agency and security operatives involved. It's not clear the number of people in the building before the collapse, but 2 people are said to be trapped in the rubble. This is the second building collapse in Abuja in about a week, as last Wednesday a building came down in Akpo Mechanic Village. Channels Television earlier spoke to the National Emergency Management Agency on the incident.
Okay, a building under construction collapsed in the early hours of today in the Gwarinpa district of the Federal Capital Territory. 6 people have been rescued from the rubble and 2 others are still trapped. Rescue efforts are still ongoing as the Director General of the FCT Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Abbas Idris, believes that the 2 persons still trapped are still alive. The acting coordinator of the Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, Majia Sefiyat Umar, explained that the building was standing on a floodplain hence the collapse. She blamed the Federal Housing Authority for giving the approval for the construction of the building. Now, the Federal Housing Authority is the manager of the Gwarinpa Housing Estate. Already the Minister of the FCT, Nalaji Muhammad Bello, has ordered an investigation into the matter.
Well, staying in Nigeria, critical and commercially acclaimed Irish instrumentalist Bono from the renowned music band U2 is in Nigeria for the 2nd time in 2 years to promote his philanthropic activities through the non-profit organization One campaign. One, as the organization is simply known, begins a fresh Make Niger Stronger campaign which aims at promoting transparency in government with a hope of reducing poverty in Africa. We, however, must warn that this report contains flash photography and viewer discretion is advised. Still ahead on Network Africa, an Ethiopian marathon runner makes a bold statement in Canada. Do stay with us.